For the 2026 World Cup, the US were put in a group with Australia, Paraguay, and Turkey. The Stars and Stripes kicked off their World Cup campaign dismantling Paraguay with ease 4-1. They then continued their winning ways, beating the rage-baited Aussies 2-0. And with Turkey losing to Paraguay, it meant the Americans had won their World Cup group for the first time since 2010. A wonderful start to the tournament. The US would lose their last group game versus Turkey, but to be fair, they made about 9 changes, so it really wasn't that much of a worry. But now things get more serious. The knockout stages. And the United States' first opponents would be Bosnia. It had been basically an eternity since the last time the US had been a European side, but in the end, they managed to scratch by with a 2-0 win. Unfortunately though, Fuller and Balogun had picked up a stray red in the game and would be suspended for the US's next fixture versus Belgium. However, the decision to send off Balogun was quite controversial. Many argued that he didn't even deserve the red in the first place. What I do find very interesting though is that this is considered a red, while Messi's challenge versus Algeria isn't? Interesting. Either way though, this was a massive hit to the US's momentum, especially with Fuller and Balogun being our top scorer with 3 goals, including 1 in the game versus Bosnia. This suspension could at least be appealed though, right? No. FIFA doesn't allow appeals for stray reds. However, there is one alternative solution. Yowie. Throughout this year, we have covered Donald Trump and Gianni Infantino's toxic love story in quite a lot of depth. But for anyone new, to give you the rundown, Gianni Infantino has been doing Cirque du Soleil tricks on it. And the way he's been using his mouth, Nancy Reagan would be starstruck. He once was willing to change the host cities for Donald Trump. Gianni allowed him to be in the middle of the Club World Cup celebrations, and he's also now said that Donald Trump can lift the World Cup trophy. And of course, there was that time Gianni gave him the FIFA Peace Prize award. So when Trump heard about the Balogun red card, he immediately called Gianni, and just like that, Fuller and Balogun's suspension was moved to after the tournament, and he'd be available for the next match. Wait, hold on. Isn't this blatant government interference? You know, the thing FIFA has banned other federations for? About a day later, Donald Trump confirmed that it was most definitely him that was behind this, and while this was not good at all, I can't even lie, the press conference was so stupid it was hilarious.
So I saw the play, and I'm a person that loves sports and was a good athlete. He didn't do anything wrong, and he's our best player or one of our best players, a very vital player, and he gave him a red card. I didn't know what that meant. And you know what? If they beat us, then they can be really proud. The other way, if they beat us, we'll say I say it was rigged, just like the election was rigged. I'm the one that got them to do it. It was not Biden. Biden was asleep.
Belgium were very angry about this decision though, and rightfully so. I mean, the US government and FIFA had just partook in the most blatant corruption ever. In response, the Belgian FA filed an appeal, which was quickly denied without any actual explanation. Infantino then came out with his own statement, and it was genuinely laughable. He claimed that FIFA's judicial bodies were independent, and the very next paragraph confirmed that Donald did in fact call him, and Gianni said there was an ongoing legal process, which makes no sense because you cannot appeal a straight red card. So why the fuck would the judicial bodies be looking into something that can't even happen according to their own rules? When it came to the reaction from the public, most people weren't okay with this. I mean, it's corruption, it's interference, this shouldn't be allowed. But some Americans were trying to paint themselves as victims of anti-Americanism, using Cristiano Ronaldo. See, before the tournament even started, Ronaldo got a red card in Portugal's second to last qualifier, which would have meant he'd be suspended for the first 2 games of the World Cup. FIFA, however, decided to waive that suspension in order for Ronaldo to play the first 2 games. But this argument doesn't work because people were also mad about this decision. To be fair though, the people using this argument probably started watching this sport like 3 weeks ago, so, I don't blame them. Here's the thing though, whether you believe it was a red or not, that no longer matters in the grand scheme of things. Because the US government interfered with the tournament. It undermined the sanctity of this sport. As the host, no less. And I can assure you, if any other country tried this, even if Mexico or Canada tried this, FIFA probably wouldn't have allowed it. But beyond this also, it sets such a dangerous precedent for this game going forward. I mean, we saw this just hours later when England tried to waive Jarell Quansah's red card. But I think the crazy thing about this is that all of this could have been avoided had FIFA just allowed teams to appeal suspensions. It was that simple. Anyways, now with our team back at full strength again, it was time to play Belgium. We lost 4-1.
I just want to be with you because I love you.
Don't bullshit me. Don't you fucking bullshit me.
We were playing at home in the most ideal stadium, literally built for fan atmospheres to be monstrous. We had the government and FIFA on our side committing corruption so that we would have our star striker available. And not only did we lose to Belgium, we were fucking humiliated by a washed Belgian side. Christian Pulisic lost the ball 11 times in just 45 minutes. Were you just depressed that Folarin Balogun and Harry Kane were getting more attention than you? You fucking pussy! All of this American media hype, everyone's so excited to see Pulisic return. Oh, these opponents won't be ready for when Pulisic comes back on the pitch. And for what? This isn't just one game, by the way. Maga Garnacho has been a disappointment for the US for years. He's not even a shadow of Brian McBride, let alone Clint Dempsey. Am I shocked though? Of course not. This is the same motherfucker who called this World Cup just another big tournament. One of the biggest tournaments in this country's history, by the way. This is the same motherfucker who took a break last year during the last possible tournament for the US to prepare for the World Cup. And instead of addressing the critics, he hid behind his dad in a shitty Paramount Plus documentary. Oh, he's got injury problems. He's saving himself for the World Cup. Well, I'm still fucking waiting.
You were in a lot of pain, had to be subbed off. What were you dealing with, fighting through?
Yeah, I mean, I just twisted my ankle and just sprained my ankle. I mean, it's just frustrating to end like that, of course, but now time to rest, so hopefully it'll be okay.
I was once the biggest fan of this guy. I bought his jersey in the 2016-17 season. On Twitter, I was basically trying to get his attention every single day. I made a whole FIFA 17 edit about this guy, and when I missed the opportunity to see him in Charlotte during the International Champions Cup, and I saw videos of other kids in my moment, in my dreams, I was devastated. But I fucking hate his guts now. And he's really just been testing my patience throughout the last few years. But I'm done. I no longer want to see this fucker play for the US ever again. This motherfucker is more bitch-made than Tab Ramos' son. Not once did you ever have to fight for anything to be a part of this national team. And yet somehow, you've been painted more as the savior than anyone ever was. I hope your ex is getting sent to fucking Pound Town by someone else and enjoying every single second of it. Go dance about that, you piece of shit! I really thought it'd be like the old times, man. Like, even with everything happening, all the chaos, all the unorganized bullshit that I've had to witness throughout the last few years, I just thought that once we put on that shirt during a World Cup game, everything would change. Even if it was just a Paraguayan side that hadn't really gotten up to gear yet, or Australia. I wanted to believe that there was truly something special here. But nope, even with the whole crowd of Americans in the stands, our players are still soft, overrated, overpaid disgraces to this country. I never want to hear this generation be referred to as golden ever again. This is the silver generation. A generation of fucking silver spoons who never had to fight a day in their lives to prove worthy for this badge. The generation before had half the ability, half the quality, and yet they put up a better fight against an up-and-coming Belgium side than this team against a washed Belgian side. No one bothered to communicate. No one bothered to even try something new. Everyone just laid down and died. I mean this as someone who has forced himself to watch that game twice now. This was a worse performance. This was a more soulless performance than the shit I saw against Trinidad in 2017. And then you remember, we had a worse performance than the other hosts. Our government literally committed corruption so we could have our best player on the pitch, and we put up less of a fight than Canada. I waited 4 years for this. 4 years. For this. 4 years just to confirm what I already knew from the very beginning. That nothing has changed. The players should be ashamed of themselves. I don't care what they think about the media anymore. They deserve every single bit of it. But at the same time, this federation needs to be disbanded completely. You had the opportunity to make changes all the way back in 2022. But instead, you chose to fumble away 2 whole years and the biggest test before the World Cup. What a waste. What a shit show. What an embarrassment to this country. I mean this wholeheartedly, by the way, because now that we've seen this generation fail to do it, we are never making it to a quarterfinal until this federation burns to the ground. I'm being dead serious because I am 100% certain that the federation right now is actually quite happy about this performance. Not because of the actual performance, simply because they made money out of it. That's all that matters to them. Also, special thanks to the administration. Because of you, Belgium had a fire lit under their asses and learned how to actually play football again. 4 more years! Until the next damn tournament! But you know, a part of me is glad it's over, because now I don't have to hear the fucking media anymore. The media that had not a single clue what the fuck it was talking about in the first place. We had just come off beating Paraguay and Australia, and Zlatan in the booth is talking about how the US could actually win the World Cup. After Australia and Paraguay. By all means, let the fans be delusional. I'm fine with that. But this is the most disingenuous bullshit ever. You are Zlatan Ibrahimovic. You don't believe that shit for a second. Speaking of not being genuine, I'm also really glad that I'm not gonna have to see any of those engagement farming brainlets on my feed anymore. All these leeches knew exactly what they were doing, always riling up people who don't follow the sport much because they know it's easy to do so, and then they purposely paint the average fan as arrogant for the entire rest of the world so they can get that engagement as well. Oh, the Europeans are scared of us. They don't want us playing our best players. Such a bunch of fucking pathetic LARPers. Get the fuck out of my sport, man. Like, at least give me something better than what a 3rd grader could come up with. But then again, you know, their audience is basically just frat bros that go to business school. Also, USMNT only. You do not get to post this on Instagram after all of this shit you tweeted. Fuck you, and also fuck men in blazers. Sorry, I forgot to mention this in the first recording, but I do feel bad for Folarin Balogun here. I mean, he was put into such a shitty situation, and unfortunately, it's kind of soiled his World Cup performances. Like, no one's gonna remember any of his contributions anymore, and that's just kind of unfortunate, because I feel like he was one of the only players who actually showed heart during this tournament. I just wanted to point that out, because I don't think he deserves any of the hate in this situation whatsoever. Alright. Let me at least end this video on a positive, none of which has anything to do with the national team. The World Cup most definitely grew the sport in this country, just not in the way the US Soccer Federation or MLS expected, which is actually fantastic, by the way. Fuck these corporations. Everywhere you are right now, you can feel that World Cup fever. It's so infectious. In a time when it feels so hard to have community in the States, so many people have been going to all these different watch parties and have continued to follow the tournament to experience more of that joy community brings. This summer I've been to a Japanese izakaya and a Senegalese church with someone who hasn't watched the World Cup since 2014. What made them fall back in love with this tournament was the collective passion it brings. I don't know if they'll necessarily follow any club football. I mean, it's just very different from international football, but I'm very excited to tell them about things like the Asian Cup and other tournaments after that. But that's the thing, there's so many instances of this, and whether a fan returns for the club season or not, more people are appreciating this sport for what it really is. Something that brings us all together. Did the Federation fumble a great opportunity? Absolutely. But people from like the 1940s would have seen that coming. It sucks, but also at the same time, I don't love this sport because of just the US. So however anyone finds their love in this sport, that alone makes me happy. Also, apologies to Belgium. I was hating a little too much. I was blinded by rage that I had while watching your games in Group G. Believe me, okay, that drunk tweet, that does not reflect me, okay? I have no qualms with Belgian people. I love Stromae. I love Angel. I love Mayo on fraud. I still think you guys are kind of frauds, but can I really speak after we just got pummeled 4-1? No. But, you know, at the same time, I don't have as much hate in my heart for you guys. Mainly because of this. Thank you, Belgium. That really put a smile on my face. Also, Belgium, I have to show love to your graphic designer. They've been killing it all summer. Shout out them. Anyways, I can't wait for the next 4 years when nothing changes. But of course, a massive shout out to all our members, including Janos Balash and my before Janos Balash, German Sayu7, Jeremiah Owusu Ajamang, Hypernova, Django, Anazir Makalankam, Alex Rod, Kendra Gacha, Saint Terrence, Sylvia Citrus, Cheesebait, Winter Gel, Bidlex Rugby More, Davox, The Porter Geyser, Wise Orange, Polar Protos, Fun Fan, A Ghostly Owl, Coney Wolves, Lickstab, Matanai, Apollo, Thrilling ADT13, Los Milos, The James Braun, Vecino, Napside, Money Cash Host, Quantavious Pork, Lilia Lover, Stewed Monk, Red Yellow, Fuxi, MX San, Harry Maguire's Love Toenail, Flaquito, Thierry's Thoughts, Julian Alvarez Glazer 7, Barca Blanco, Mark GB, Archangel, Chuck is Dead Vayak, Somir, Dizzy, Whiffy Denny, Kev C, Dominic Griffin, Kyler Krebs, Mohammed Al Tanib, Nish, Patrick Barley, Rashford Got 5, Raspberry Ale, and Unbroken Persona. If you'd like to become a member on the channel, there'll be a link down below and up in the annotations. You can follow me on Twitter if you want, follow my Instagram if you like. Follow me on Twitch. I did just do a watch along. The weather seems to be cooling down just a little bit so I can actually stream. So give that a follow. But until then, I'll see you guys. Now it's time for me to slave away on that knockout stage review. Whoop whoop.